Let's do a thumbnail first so we don't forget. Let's do a thumbnail that completely misleads the audience into thinking we really love this movie. Since everyone's... What's going on, rejects? We're going to talk about Transformers, The Last Night. That's all I got. That's all I got.
It's a good impression, okay?
It's a good impression, okay? Oh boy. Man, was that requiring my ability to just pay attention and not doze off.
Yeah, there's a lot of bringing your mind back to focus.
About an hour and a half into it, I was like, oh boy, I'm starting to feel my eyes closed. Nope, not this time. Not this time. You're gonna pay attention to this entire thing. You know, every thumbnail, everyone's just like this. And there's like a couple people like John Rocco who actually like the film, surprisingly. This movie is not a good film. It's not a good film. I'm not gonna do the thing where you introduce a bunch of positives first and then talk about its negatives. No, because this film is just not a good achievement at all. Let's start with the aspect ratio. That was the biggest problem I had with this movie. We've talked to a few people about it who saw it before us who said like there's this weird aspect ratio change that keeps happening. I thought it was like, oh, it only happens when you watch it on IMAX because I've seen films like The Dark Knight where when they play it on IMAX, the aspect ratio changes into the IMAX camera format, and then sometimes it's back to its regular letterboxes. If you watch an IMAX movie at a regular theater, it doesn't do that. It just stays in its regular format the entire time. They convert it just for that. Somewhere along the line, Michael Bay was like, we're not going to do that. We don't care what theater you're at. We're going to keep changing the IMAX, the friggin' aspect ratio.
We're going to use a lot of different cameras. The size of the picture's going to change a whole lot, and whatever, man.
Because at first it's like, oh, it's IMAX quality. Because there's two different IMAX cameras. One takes up the whole screen, one takes up most of the screen. And it's not that distracting. When it's really distracting is when it's this regular film format and the letterboxes are much more defined. And why it's distracting is because it keeps interchanging between the three different cameras in every scene. It's like there are scenes where, all right, it's a talking scene. Coverage of this guy. We'll use the best IMAX camera. Coverage of this person. Let's use the regular film camera.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It kept cutting back and forth. Like, what the hell's going on with this film?
I wanted to forgive it, but yeah, every time it changed, there started to be moments where I was like, why did you choose to... It didn't seem like there was any thought as to which camera they were going to use for what purpose. It was just like, throw that one in. Shoot this angle. Like, let's just shoot every scene on all the cameras and cut between them.
The humor is sometimes makes you laugh. There's a father with his daughter who's sitting next to us who really laughed a lot. But it's mean sense of humor. It's Michael Bay mean sense of humor. Everyone's mean. The Transformers are mean. Mark Wahlberg's kind of a little racist, and Anthony Hopkins is a big dick to everyone.
That's a weird. Yeah, everybody in this everybody in this movie is kind of a dick with their sense of humor, and it seems clear to me that somebody listened when everybody complained about their semi-racist robots, and then they like compensate for that by still having a lot of them, but then also having random characters be like, that's pretty racist, you know, like, I don't know, you can't be like half woke.
This movie is all over the place. Like I'm sure our review will be. It's going to be all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Because this movie is like I remember right when it launches into this thing where, because you know how the trailer talks about the Knights of the Round Table. Actually, you know what? That's something.
Knights of the Round
That's
Table.
something I'll give the film. I thought in the first 10 minutes when you're getting the prologue of Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and Merlin and how that's all linked to the Transformers, I was watching it thinking, oh man, I wish we just got some spin-off movie where it was only about this.
Yeah, right.
Because that was all right to me. That wasn't half bad. I was enjoying that, and I liked the mixing up with the historical fiction, and well, I don't know if it's historical, but you know what I mean. Like mixing it all up.
At least drawing from legend and timeless tales.
Yeah, and that was really neat to me. It's when the movie becomes what the movie is really going into. This is a 2.5-hour movie. It's all plot, no character. It's nothing that it's like, and you're not going to expect that from this film. I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to see one of these movies that again, it's a 2.5-hour action movie, and the thing is, it never really changes its pace ever. So there's just tons of stuff happening all the time, and it's not, to me, it It's the most stuff happening for so little engagement.
Yeah.
Like, it never grabs you, because the thing is, like, even in the talk scenes, there's chaos happening. We're cutting to a whole bunch of stuff. And, even the dialogue is shot like action, where it's like, we gotta get through this as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And so the movie amounts to just a lot of people narrating things to you, and you watching cool-looking B-roll.
You know, I've seen all the Transformers films, and surprisingly, this was the one where I thought it was the most uneven, the most the worst structured one of them all. Because especially in like the first half hour, you're cutting around to like a lot of different locations, a lot of different people, a bunch of different Transformers, setting up Optimus to meet with his maker, who's like in the film for 3.5 minutes.
Practically all the recurring characters in this movie are just people that you see, and then you kind of go, oh, I should probably remember that character because I'll see them again in 40 minutes when we check back in with them.
The main plot point of this is Mark Wahlberg's character, Jaeger.
He's got this pendant thing.
Yeah, you know, just fucking
from the Transformers.
These
He's the chosen one.
Autobots need to stop leaving shit behind on Earth. They just need to stop it.
I feel like the Autobots just like lost their junk drawer on Earth. This special pendant, it's like a seal of some kind that relates back. All the 12 knights had them.
It latches onto his arm, but it actually travels throughout his body. And
for what reason?
Which
I'm
links
not
to Anthony Hopkins' character, who knows all about the Transformers. He wants to talk with Mark Wahlberg and this other British Megan Fox. And so this movie's just so
British Megan Fox, who that character is orchestrated very strangely.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about having to retrieve this staff that can help prevent the Decepticons or Medusa's head from taking over or whatever. Look, honestly,
Enchantress?
The story doesn't even really matter. That's the problem with this film, that is all plot heavy, and by the end you're like, it doesn't really matter, honestly.
Yeah, because this movie feels like it's in a hurry, and you're like, dude, if you're gonna hide behind the like, oh, but these movies are fun, they gotta be fun or something, or engaging somehow. People clapped at the end. A couple people clapped.
15 people out of a packed theater clapped.
Yeah, but I was like, what do they see that I can't see?
Yeah.
You know? There are cool moments, there are little moments of humor. Dude. Or there are little characters I like here and there, but...
I like what they were doing with Josh Duhamel's character.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, because Josh Duhamel's in the first three, and this one he's part of the military. He's assigned to a task force. It's all about taking down Autobots and all that, and keeping them under control. But you see, the thing with the film, that especially because there's a lot of different characters that people are cutting around to in around the first 30 to 40 minutes. Then around the last 30 to 40 minutes, and keep in mind this movie's 2.5 hours. Then in the last 30 to 40 minutes, it started cutting back to some of these people, like little J-Lo, as Mark Wahlberg calls her, the girl, the feminist trailer that we had.
Yeah, the 14-year-old girl Michael Bay wants to have
which
sex
you're
with.
pretty much like, I feel like he's kind of sexualizing her.
I feel like Michael Bay wants to have sex with you.
Yeah.
I didn't get that impression.
It was a little weird. It was a little strange. Because the main characters are Mark Wahlberg, Anthony Hopkins, British Megan Fox, and then their journey, and then Josh Duhamel's like randomly chasing them down. And then you got NASA trying to figure out how to stop this thing. Then you got J-Lo and a bunch of other Transformers just chilling.
You've got another task force with a chip on their shoulder led by not quite Frank Grillo.
And then you got whatever's going on with Optimus Prime on Cybertron happening. And and then you have Megatron assembling a team to take down Jaeger or something.
Megatron's got a team of similarly gray-looking Decepticons, and they're gonna do something for the chick in the spaceship.
See, the problem, the biggest issue with this movie is you got so much going on, and I could literally give zero shits about anybody who's involved in any of these things.
This is the least I've cared in one of these kinds of movies in a long time.
By the time you get to, the world's gonna be destroyed again, by the time you get to that part of the movie,
they're like, this planet is gonna crash into our planet and it's gonna obliterate everything in 3 days, and you feel none of those stays. You don't care. There's no reason to care. There's nothing to latch onto. And the other thing is, during this movie, I thought like I was watching a medley of other movies. Totally. I was watching Game of Thrones at one point, and then I was watching like a cut-rate Neil Blomkamp movie at one point, and then I was watching Alien at one point, and then I was watching, I was watching like parts of Pain and Gain at other points. It's just like a big mishmash, and then that rumor about like the writer's room feels like it's real. Then you're like, did you just crash like every script into this script?
This movie had 6 editors.
6 editors are credited on this.
That says something about a movie.
Everything.
They
except
hired
the director has.
They hired an editor, then they hired another one to re-edit, and then another one to re-edit, and another one to re-edit.
You don't have 6 dudes at a computer
Yeah.
like, no. With all of our efforts right now, we
Yeah.
can make this happen. And it feels really edited. Like the editing is perhaps the most noticeable thing about this is because it's cutting all the time.
I mean, I like Bumblebee still.
I do like, there's little things.
There's little things to like. I always enjoy Bumblebee, and
so.
I still think he's like the most enjoyable part of this movie. Mark Wahlberg is just not from Texas anymore. Let's just make
never
it that
from
Texas. I saw Age of Extinction, and his character's established from Texas. I don't even remember if he attempted a Southern accent, but in this movie, it's definitely not there.
He's got a magnet on his fridge. It's shaped like Texas.
Yeah.
To remind you.
To remind you.
Also in this movie, just geography doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I spent half this movie going, wait a minute, are we still in Chicago? Are we in America? Or where are we?
Yeah. And how are these human beings getting to all these places so fast?
And that's the thing, is it becomes, like, that's just another thing that makes this less engaging, is like, not only do I not know anybody enough to care about them, but also, like, I don't even think the stakes really matter, because they're like, Cybertron's gonna crash into Earth and it's gonna be cataclysmic, and it kind of does, and not a lot happens.
I weirdly wouldn't walk out of this film going, it's non-stop action. It's not.
No.
And it's times when it's most entertaining is when there's action scenes going on. At the same time, however, all these action scenes they're nothing different than what we've seen from any of the other Transformers movies, so they're just boring. It's dull.
None of this is different except the medley of different production values they switch between.
Yeah, there's no, because not one Transformers action sequence feels different than any other action scene that we've seen from like hours of other Transformers movies. So I'm like, man, as much as I would say, like, why don't you cut out more story, give us more Transformers? Because the humans are dull, the Transformers are the most interesting part, and yet they just can't even get that right. This might be one. This is probably one of the worst ones I've seen of them all. I don't think it's worse than Revenge of the Fallen.
Okay.
As I feel like Age of Extinction at least had a pretty clear-cut plot of what was going on. This inventor, this amateur inventor with his family, they go on this journey and they primarily stick to that, and then it leads open to more doors, but it's sticking to this family and Mark Wahlberg for the majority of the film.
Okay.
Here, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about these guys. Oh yeah, I forgot about these guys. Oh yeah, Optimus Prime's in this movie. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that's even occurred to me when they cut back to him, like, I forgot this guy's in the movie.
Yeah, Optimus Prime is on like a Fate of the Furious, but like in the way background, just like subplot where he's only in a few minutes of this.
Because they have all these plots that they I'm sure they thought in their little outline that it would be clever of how they all come together in the end. But it's not.
They don't earn
J-Lo feels honestly pointless by the end.
Everybody shows up at random.
Those kids that you see in the trailer, those like Stranger Things cast that they had going on.
All of their scenes are
all of their scenes
like,
are
all their dialogue.
And that's
practically.
it. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
There's one other scene of them like talking and getting shot at by Ed 209, and then like, you know,
I was like, why give focus to these guys? It does nothing.
Yeah, why sell the movie based on this?
I mean, I can't even remember if this action scene was in another one, but I think a cool action scene was when Bumblebee is disassembled and as he's reassembling, he's fighting people. That was cool.
That was a fresh thing to me.
I would say the coolest parts of this movie are honestly within its first 40 minutes, before it gets to its main plot. When it got to its main plot, I made a note to you. I remember I said to you, like, oh, I'm so glad that we waited like 40 minutes to get to the main plot.
Finally start the movie.
Yeah, because it's just like a 40-minute, setup of all this other shit.
Well, and you pointed this out at the end, going back to the not showing us much of anything new with the action past that first 40 minutes. By the end of it, it almost seems like it's gotten easier to kill Decepticons and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So the stakes get even lower.
Yeah, because when Optimus doesn't, he's like in the beginning for a bit, and then he's in the end for like the last 20 or so minutes. And I'm going to give you guys a minor spoiler. A very minor spoiler. A minor hint of a spoiler. There's a Martha scene.
There's a Martha scene in this movie.
Right when it happened, I went, Martha.
Yeah.
And
don't know how it worked.
And it's not 100% Martha. No one says Optimus Prime's name. But when it happens, it's a Martha moment. It definitely is. And if you haven't seen the film, or if you have seen the film, you will know what I am talking about. And if you haven't, and then you go watch it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's the Martha moment." That's the Martha moment.
It'll be kind of impossible to miss. And there are
all this build up for Nemesis Prime. Yeah.
And there are a lot of those kinds of moments hidden in the other plots too, where just like special things will just work out right now when we need them to, this one time only, and then there's a lot of Deus Ex Machina in this movie.
Yeah, there were things that I thought I would like a little more. I thought the helper he had, the employee Mark Wahlberg had, the black guy, the nerdy one.
He was one of my favorite characters for the 5 minutes he was in.
And I even liked the robot human-sized butler.
Yeah, Cogsworth.
At times I liked him. At times he was kind of annoying, but that's only because of the choice of editing and jokes they were choosing to do with him that got on my nerves. British Megan Fox is a much better actress than Megan Fox, but I couldn't help but think you look like British Megan Fox.
Yeah, and that was like a cake and eat it too character where I'm like, you're trying to make her like strong-willed, but you've always got her in the most impractical, like sexy-ass clothes, like you're always insulting her intelligence and stuff like
Anthony
that.
Hopkins, he does a good job because he's Anthony Hopkins. He's gonna do a good job.
He looked like he was having a good time at least.
Yeah.
Dude.
He looked like he was invested in what he was doing.
Or like he wandered off onto the set and just started saying whatever, and that is somehow kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Because he's kooky in this, and at least that stands out.
Bottom line, this movie's all over the place, gives you really nothing to latch onto. It doesn't gravitate to you in any way emotionally, and if anything, it's just a big repetitive mess of all the other ones. There's nothing. It doesn't even end on a new note. It just ends on a similar note like how all the other ones have ended, and ends abruptly like the other ones too.
Yeah, it just stops, and then there's a mid-credit sequence that did nothing
but
got
set
me
up
less excited for
part
part 6 because it involves some stuff that I actually didn't like from this movie.
And because Michael Bay is setting up a part 6, I just really doubt he's not going to return. And I honestly, I might not even watch this. If Michael Bay shoots the 6th one, I might just go, I'm not going to watch it.
See, coming back to this, I was like 5 movies deep. This is not how this should look, and this is like, I walked out of this having not seen the last couple and going, yeah, I don't think I need to go check out the next couple.
It's the loudest mess that
nothing's changed.
Somehow is so dull. Like I don't get it.
You don't care about anything, and there are no stakes because I think it's really telling. There's one character, little recurring plot character in this movie, played by the guy from like Veep or something. He's always ranting on about physics. Yeah. And the movie kind of hates that character. Yeah. And that's very telling. Because this movie doesn't give a shit about physics. No, not at all. Even in a movie that's only seems to be concerned with its plot and its physical and its action, if you're going to shit all over that, then nothing is of any stakes, and I don't care.
There were cool things they were setting up to explore. I liked how, Chicago had its like own ground zero. It had this more sci-fi apocalyptic feel where this is alien restricted territories. I thought that stuff was like cool. I hope we get to spend more time here. I would love to see that city a little. I liked all that stuff. It's just when it just turns into typical Transformers. Yeah. Plot heavy, Transformers left something behind, that's the secret, Megatron wants it, Optimus wants it, like it's all the same dumb shit over and over again.
It's all the same. The only part of this plot that actually kind of works out is towards the end when it sort of becomes a war movie. Like when they're finally doing the climactic operation and they're working on regular Earth and then up on this space thing and then Transformers are coming, there are times where you're like, oh, like it seems like some of these things just developed, like real situations where like plans half work and then they adjust.
And there's no real clear-cut villain in here, too. It's like, Megatron's around, and Enchantress, Maker is around, but you don't really give a shit.
I'm like, I've seen this plot line before, and also, you're not gonna win, so...
Yeah.
And there's nothing else to take my mind off of that. There's nothing that makes this fun for me besides that.
The other cool thing that I thought was there was they had this weapon where when a Transformer shoots it, it like slows down time.
That was cool.
Like in this little spear, this little bubble.
Yeah.
That was a cool weapon. You see, like the only things that were cool and different were Bumblebee assembling himself and fighting people at the same time while he's assembling.
Iron giant shit.
Also the time stopper thing, and that was it. That's all I'll tell you that was rewarding about this film. Those two things. Other than that, it's just a loud, incoherent mess that I will never watch again. You can't. Well, not even for fun. It's not even fun bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, I saw a tweet once that said, if you miss the new Transformers movie, just have someone push you down the stairs and throw Legos at your face. That's exactly what you could save time doing. And money.
Well, subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. John Humphrey on Twitter and Instagram. Social media manager of Blumhouse. Check out our Patreon for the exclusive perks and video content we got over there. It's a whole lot of fun we're having. Go have a good rest of your